guy just committed murder, and God steps in to protect a murderer. That's not an angry God. Sin just happened. You will think God will come with a Monday hammer and hammer Cain. But God is saying, Cain, what have you done again? Oh, Cain. Now look at the consequences of your action. And Cain says, I acknowledge. Now Genesis I am a target for all Genesis chapter 4, verse number 8. Read for me, PJ.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
Again, this was the first mention of sin in the scriptures. That's the first time the word sin appears in the Hebrew text of the scriptures. So from the writer's explanation in the above narrative we just read, it is evident that sin and its manifestation through Cain was as wrath, then murder. Murder was associated with man. Murder was never associated with God. It was man who murdered. The first time murder ever occurred in the history of man. It wasn't God, it was man. So we see wrath originating from man, and we see the result of wrath, which is murder, proceeding from man. If you're clear, can I have a good amen? Now pay attention, because we're going somewhere with this. This is quite instructive. This explains why the writer stated that God expressly told Cain, what have you done? Read for me Genesis chapter 4, verse number 10.
And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
In other words, similar to Genesis 3, 1 to 8, the actions in the motion of sin and its manifestation as wrath and murder are man's actions, not God. Cain, what have you done? Not what have I done. You, Cain. The actions was man's, not God. Look at Genesis chapter 4 from verse 5 to 10.
But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him. And the Lord said unto Cain, where is Abel thy brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? And he said, what hast thou done? The voice of thy brother's blood crieth unto me from the ground.
Now you see that narrative, which suffices to say that sin, death, wrath, wickedness, which are evil, emanate from the heart of man and are found within human interactions. So when the writer stated in that Genesis from 11 to 14, let's read it.
And now art thou cursed from the earth, which hath opened her mouth to receive thy brother's blood from thy hand. When thou tillest the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto thee her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond thou shalt be in the earth.
Now God obviously was not reacting in anger. God wasn't angry. If anything at this point is compassion. If anything at this point is mercy. How can I help this boy? Look at what he has put himself inside. With all the warning that I gave him, with all the precautions that I look, what can I do to help this boy? God wasn't angry. There's no anger or wrath to the sin of Cain. Rather, he was stating the consequences of what Cain had done. However, pay attention to Cain's words. How Cain responded to what God said to him. In Genesis chapter 4, verse 13 and 14.
And Cain said unto the Lord, my punishment is greater than I can bear. Behold, thou hast driven me out this day from the face of the earth, and from thy face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that findeth me shall slay me.
Now, Cain acknowledged the fact that to kill another, to murder, are actions of men. Anyone that finds me shall slay me. It's men. Because of what I have done. Now, I will have to be running all the days of my life. My punishment is greater than I can bear. The consequences. He's not saying you are punishing me more than I can handle. He said my punishment is greater than I can bear. Which means Cain acknowledged that the fact that he killed another, murder, are actions of men. That is why the next thing the writer said was Genesis chapter 4 verse 15. Read for me.
And the Lord said unto him, Therefore whosoever slayeth Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And the Lord set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him.
Again, notice the emphasis. This is beautiful. Everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Whosoever slayeth Cain. Cain said, everyone that findeth me shall slay me. Then God said, whosoever slayeth Cain. Not me, men. And finding him should kill him. So God, the part God played in this was to protect Cain from what men will have done unto him. He took a stone, put a mark, and said, anybody that touched Cain will answer to me. That is from the beginning of time. That's God's character from the beginning of time. There's no wrath in God. If there was, this is where wrath should come forth from, because this is laying a precedence for all of human existence. But then we see God in mercy, reaching out to a murderer. Remember the way Cain described it. My punishment. So he already knew that his action has consequences. My punishment is greater than I can bear. And what did God say? God will not allow you to be tempted above what you can handle, and he will, with the temptation, make a way of escape. So what was God doing here? He was giving Cain a way of escape because Cain acknowledged that this is bigger than me. Are we teaching here? God's action in this scenario was to pre-inform, then relate the consequence of what Cain did to him. Then when he cried unto the Lord in fear of what man will do to him by killing him, God protected him.